reason, by the way, we consider Jesus worthy of worship. It's not because he's the biggest guy on the block. It's not because he has the biggest muscles. It's not because he has the most power, although he is all of those things as well. The reason I personally choose to worship Jesus, accept him as God incarnate, and surrender my life to him is actually because of his character, not his power. You see, when you take unbridled power and you give it to someone with a failed character or with a flawed character, you end up with a despot. You end up with a tyrant. You end up with somebody who's going to rule at all costs and at the expense of his subjects. This world's politics are riddled with stories like that, from ancient times to the present day. People who have been given power, but they have had flawed characters. Perhaps it's pride, perhaps it's whatever it might be. And as a result of that, greed, arrogance, you name it, they have used their power to serve themselves instead of serving the people. Instead of being a servant, they have made the people slaves, taken their resources, enriched themselves, and acted in the same spirit as Satan. You see, the reason why I choose personally to acknowledge Jesus as Lord, to accept him as Savior, is because there is no one else in all of history with a character like his. There's no one in all of history who has humbled himself to such an extent, voluntarily, without force, like Jesus has. There is no one in all of history who has, shall I say, earned the respect and the right to rule like Jesus has. So yes, he is King of Kings and he is Lord of Lords and he does sit on the throne, but more than that, I consider him safe to rule, safe to be my King, safe to be my Savior, because I know that his character is one of pure love. His character is one of selfless sacrifice. He would rather die than keep the throne without the human race, his children, his creatures created in his image. He would rather relinquish the throne of heaven, the crown of heaven, to redeem us than to live without us. And all of this is so that our sin could be justly forgiven, our status be changed from rebels and aliens to sons and daughters of the Most High King, that we may inherit the inheritance that was intended for Adam in the Garden of Eden, which we lost through rebellion, but now has been purchased back in our behalf through that wonderful deed of the cross. This is indeed the story of Easter in all its fullness and in all its glory. Pagan culture aside, love on full display at the cross, that place which is on the one hand horrific and terrible, on the other hand such a place of beauty and of hope for us, a place of suffering and yet a place of redemption. This is the true story behind the Easter season.